So anyway, you've got attributes, then you've got derived attributes, then you've got skills, mainly. So what happens is your attributes are a score, and your skills are a score. So let me just give you a basic example of how things work. So let's say, for example, you want to fire your gun. You'll have a score for, let's say, your agility or whatever it is in Blue Planet. You know, it's all the same stuff, right? So your agility might be a 6, and let's say your fire weapon, you know, a shotgun or whatever, might be a 3. So what happens is you add your attribute plus your skill together to get a number. That's your target number. So 6 plus 3 is 9. You have to get under a 9. But what happens with Blue Planet, I thought it was pretty okay, I didn't mind the system, is that you roll d10s, so 10-sided dice. But you don't add the 10-sided dice together. You just get a number of dice you can roll, and each 10-sided die that's under your target number, in this example under 9, is a success. So for ability checks, you roll 2d10. So you can get a maximum of 2 successes, I guess, right? And then for skills, though, the skills are divided into, you get to pick which skills you have an aptitude for. So this is not, you know, you've got superior training. I think this is more in the lines of, you know, you're just kind of built that way. You're just kind of good at certain things, you know. You're good at working on cars. You just kind of have a mechanical aptitude. You know, so these are things that don't change throughout your character's life because you have a natural aptitude for it, maybe for performing, or, you know, I just really can captivate an audience. I've always been like that as a kid. I just have a natural kind of like flow for it. So you do that, you choose your categories, one of which is superior. So you choose those skill areas that you're superior in, like administration or something. You know, just really good at detail, and are really good at, you know, dotting my I's and crossing my T's and all that stuff. So I have superior ability in administration and something else. And then your next category is strong, I think. So I have a strong aptitude for also, I don't know, firearms. I'm just a good shot, you know, just kind of have a knack for it. And then all the rest of your skills fall into the average category. So what happens is, in Blue Planet, if you're making a skill check, it's not rolling 2 d10s, it's rolling a number of d10s depending upon your aptitude for it. So if you have a superior aptitude for something, you roll 3 d10s. And if you have a strong aptitude for something, you roll 2 d10s. And if you have an average, you roll 1 d10. And now, and you see if you get under a target number, right? So you still have a number in your average skill that you add to your ability number, but you have to get under it using 1 d10 only. So you can only get 1 success, I guess. Now also, instead of hit points in Blue Planet, you've got, they make the argument that, you know, traditional hit points aren't very realistic, because they say if you get, you know, punched in the nose and your nose is broken, that wound on that part of your body is inconsequential to a lot of other wounds you might receive. So getting a shotgun in the gut, really your broken nose doesn't have anything to do with this other wound. So, you know, life points are not a great way of handling it. So what they do is they just have effects, cumulative effects that happen to you. So for example, if someone gets 2 successes against you, you know, you might have you know, -2 on everything, plus your stun, plus something, 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 right? Like a lot of different effects that will pile up over time. So, and I'll give you an example of what happened. So, there are a number of books that you can buy for Blue Planet, or you could buy. The game seems to be kind of in a bit of limbo right now. And I don't know for how long that'll be. But it is. It's just in this limbo. Because I think Red Brick or something is taking it over, and FASA expired its time with the rights, and I think I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, but anyway, I thought Red Brick or something was gonna take it over, and now they're not, or I don't know. Something's going on. Or Fantasy Flight has it back. It's all over the place. You know, all the legal schmeagle that happens with role-playing games, right? And it's just a lot of stuff goes on. So, anyway, where was I? Yeah, so that's essentially Blue Planet, right? You roll a bunch of d10s depending upon how great you are, what your aptitude is for something. You don't add them together. You pick the best d10s and count up the number of times you were successful rolling under a target number. That's essentially Blue Planet, right? But then you've got these other books, and along with the player's handbook, they give you biomodifications and armor and vehicles and the ecology, this realistic ecology. Guys, it's written by marine biologists and engineers, right? And they're great writers too. You'd sit down for a good hour of Blue Planet and just read. It's just so interesting about the blight and life on Blue Planet. You know, it's a place you'd want to go, right? And you know, it's like the new frontier, right? Make a name for yourself on Blue Planet. Maybe you can survive. And anyway, so I'll tell you this adventure. Now, what I sometimes do, I write most of my adventures now, but for the longest time I was using bought adventures, purchase adventures. And so in Blue Planet, they had this book called the Haven Source Book. These are all beautiful hardcovers, man. Just beautiful, man. I love the artwork inside. It's black and white, crisp. Covers are awesome. So anyway, I buy, way back in the day, I bought that Haven. And Haven's this group of islands. And the Russian mob is really big there, crime syndicates. So you got these neon splash lighted bars and Blade Runner-y with cybernetics, biomods, and then this underworld on the go at Haven. And anyway, so what I do is I'm running an adventure from this Haven book. I think they have 3 of them. But I heavily modify my adventures, and I throw what I like in and take what I want out, and I change the story. So a lot of times it's not as recognizable as what it was. Man, I can't throttle blip anymore ever since I had that changed on to the clutch. So anyway, so so I'm GMing this module, and this will be spoilers, guys. If you want to play Blue Planet and you want some guy to pick up this Haven source book and run these campaigns, you don't want to listen any further, right? Or at least you don't want to tell your GM that you did. So I'll go into it. So we and a good friend, really good friend of mine, God, I keep forgetting his online name. A really good friend of mine chose not to play. He's moving, and his internet takes a long time to get back on the go, and he didn't want to learn a new system, just sit in for one game. It breaks my heart because I think he would have liked it. So to you, G-Man. And oh, use your real name. He's from Australia, originally New Zealand. So anyway, I play on Skype. So his first name begins with a G. So yeah, so I run an adventure. Essentially, this is what happens. You've got this guy, Devin. He's like this rich kid, right? And what he does is he hires... guys, I'm going to turn off my music, though. I've got Robotech playing. I love it. Mid-May, you're dear to my heart. You too, Rick and Roy. And Captain Global. And Lisa. But what I'm going to do, I'm just getting a bit confused. I should read this engine. And getting a bit confused here, especially with this Intrati theme. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Brita coming in right now to attack. Okay, Chiron. So let me get this bike turned around here. I'll adjust my music, remembering to put the kickstand down. I didn't do that before. I don't know if anybody recalls that. Okay, kickstand going down. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my music. So, yeah, you've got this guy Devin, this rich kid. He's really well described in the adventure. And then you've got his significant other, this girl, this Vietnamese, Japanese girl of descent. And then you got his bodyguard, this guy Manny. I chose a picture for him in the Skype game. Just real bouncer bruiser guy. It's this big guy. And then you got this guy Raj. He's like computer genius who works for this guy, this rich kid. And essentially, you know, the PCs are contacted by this Devin guy. And he's like, oh, you know, come with me on an expedition. I'm hiring a few teams. And what I plan to do is catch an animal. And whoever's successful catching the animal gets loads of money. And whoever just comes along gets 10,000 credits up front. Blah, blah, blah. And then you go out, if you do accept it, and then you're out to sea, and there are all these different... I'll tell you what happened in the campaign I ran. So all of these, you know, Devin's got this yacht called the something something, and it's this big, beautiful yacht, futuristic yacht. And then you've got people there on hydrofoils, these self-contained, like racing boat type deals. And there are a couple of Russian twins that are there on their hydrofoil. And then you've got the PCs. So one guy ran a dolphin character, and I see, how's this going to work? But I didn't want to turn him down. I was thinking, if we're going to play Blue Planet, and I might just get this one game to try it, we're going to want to go for the full meal deal here. So be your dolphin, I'll figure out how to work it, right?